Welcome to Indy Karting Challenge Round 6 at White. Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Whiteland, Indiana. It's good to be back here in Whiteland, as always, here for the Indy Karting Challenge. It's been not that long, and we're back for some night racing. It's going to be a night, and I tell you what, if I'm already seeing drivers ramp corners here on this fun track layout, it tells me we're in for a great night. Hope everyone's having a great weekend here, live on Kart Chaser with grassroots coverage coming at you today for this round number 6 of the Indy Karting Challenge. It's myself, Brad Dalton, joined in the booth, and we got a new friend to join us here today. You're not going to listen to me solo, of course, but it's Tyler Stolper. Tyler, am I messing up your last name? I'm probably messing up your last name, but that's fine. Welcome to Indy, and how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic today. Thank you for asking, but I will have to say you're one of the only people that get my last name right on the first try.
You know what? I'll take it. I'm pretty good with that. So if I didn't mess up your last name, I'm pretty happy with that. That is a rare feat for me. So I'm going to take a win where I can get it here. KA Senior Master out on track. Tyler, this class, while qualifying is going, of course, they get 5 minutes to put in the runs that they can. They've only been out a minute. We're running a different layout than we normally run here, but this layout really gives some room for some passing opportunities. And of course, we have Daytona, we have the banking. It's going to make for a great day.
Yeah, I really think so too. Unfortunately, I've never had the opportunity to drive here, but just the whole layout really provides a good racing opportunity for all classes that we have today. Even Daytona, it's kind of one of the unique features of this track that I believe can add to some of the racing factor here today.
I think this is going to be a case where the racing is going to be very amped up. Of course, we are approaching that halfway run on the season here for the Indy Karting Challenge in Whiteland. So when you take a look at things here, it's hard to believe that we're already at the end of July, honestly. That's, I think, the biggest part of this that shocks me is the fact that we're at the end of July. This is not how I thought things would go. Let's talk about schedule for the day. Well, it's KA Senior Masters qualifying out on track right now. Next up will be Micro Minis, then 206 Seniors. Then we'll take a brief break and let Kid Karts run themselves along the circuit for their qualifying. They get to run in the middle of things, and we'll bring you the coverage. 206 Junior, 206 Master, Super Master combined, 206 Cadets, and we'll finish things out with KA Junior. So lots of action-packed runs. We're looking at an entry list of over 60 karts here across all of our classes, so it's going to be a good time. Of course, last time out here was back round number 5 a few weeks ago, and round number 5 brought some great action all the way up and down. But when it comes to the points here in KA Senior and Master, it is currently in the Senior, it's Dane Van Dyke, and in KA Master, Danny Cutshaw leading the points here. Two drivers that tend to find themselves up in the front. Looking at times right now as they sit, Mason Ward currently sitting with a 43.463 running top of the times. And you can see here in qualifying, Tyler, you know, the drivers are kind of spreading out a bit. They're kind of relaxing and just getting their runs in. This is one of the things that we tend to see with this KA category is, you know, you would think that they would want to draft a little bit, but in KA, they especially tend to like to spread out and find some more time and, you know, find their own rhythm. That seems to be the name of the game here in KA, at least with this track layout, I'll say. As usually, you know, sometimes we'd have the hairpins to cut around, and it seems like here, really, we have the bus stop in the backstretch, but other than that, this is probably the most unique layout we've ran all season.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those layouts that you might not need to depend more on the draft, and with the K100 platform here, you might want to spread out a little bit more, as if you're a little bit quicker, you'll catch up on the guy in front of you if you're a little bit faster with some of the twisty bits here. as this there isn't really much time to really need to work together to draft and get that time back.
That's definitely going to make for a fun weekend through to see, especially when we get to some of our 206 categories where they tend to be a little bit more dependent on things like the draft, how that plays through. But these KA, these two-stroke engines, they're flinging these carts around. We've already seen a couple of them there get scary close to jumping curbs, I have to say, and it'll be interesting to see how some side-by-side battles form up here. Mason Ward, Abram Dean, Dane Van Dyke, and Andrew Cockerham, your 4 senior master carts coming through as we come across. Checkered flag is out on qualifying, and it is Mason Ward, and checkered flag overalls are back. What do you know? I love seeing it here. Abram Dean through, Andrew Cockerham crossing the line, Dane Van Dyke in third here for KA Senior. No KA Masters on the qualifying run. 4 KA Seniors through here in Whiteland, Indiana, and I'll tell you what, that's an interesting setup to see here for Dane Van Dyke, current points leader, to be down in third. Not sure how that's going to play out, but could make for some great racing later. That's your first qualifying down. Rolling out next is Micro and Mini. We go to our youngest category here, where things tend to get real feisty real quick here as they are staged up here on the pre-grid. James Fox currently leads the points here in the mini category. Won round 5 with Zen Veach getting second place last time out. Miles Hale was third. Entry list here today, they look strong as well. This is again a category we always see lots of fun in, and for our minis we've got 4 entries here on the day, so we'll see how they play things through. And out of our 4 entries here, I see 3 down on the track. So, taking a look at the runs for them. Kason Hendrickson, Diesel Maxwell, and Zen Beach, and Miles Hale, your 4 entries. I see Miles Hale, the 215 down there. I see the 211 in the mix as well. And then, well, can't see the number plate on the third cart there, but I think that is one of our AMAX drivers that is there and rolling. And there we go. Let's get things going here for the minis as they get rolling. Our youngest category here. And, you know, Tyler, I got to ask, when you watch minis race, one of my favorite things is that they tend to do some crazy things that you don't expect.
Yeah, and I just saw one of our 4th carts rolling out there, so we might have their full grid today. I just love to see how these drivers excel with the experience that they gain. We see, like, these are very young drivers, but their competitiveness is so high. We see almost F1 levels of competition in some of the younger age classes, like the Mini Swift and Micro Swift. But it's nice to see that this is one of the bottom levels on working towards the top to like the K100 junior and senior class. And I just love watching the reflexes and the agility that these drivers have at such a young age.
It's always exciting to see how they play through. Kason Hendrickson, by the way, that 4th cart that rolled out there, but Maxwell, Veach, and Hale working through, and it was Diesel Maxwell, who, again, no Mohawk. I'm so used to seeing Diesel Maxwell with a Mohawk, but that A-Max Racing driver has ditched the Mohawk this season and seems to be like a bit of a run here of going a bit faster. And, well, Diesel Maxwell working a pass there to the inside. That is your number 41 there, the white helmet with the black suit, going down into turn number 11. Great move there. And then this snaky infield. This is the first time I think I've seen us run this infield configuration, and I see a lot of black marks there that kind of give me an indication of how that may go if you try to go side by side and along here as they work their way through. Right now, Diesel Maxwell, fastest car on track. Again, no surprise, making passes and finding purple laps with a 46.965. It's a 48.965 for Zen Veach. Nearly 2 seconds faster, Diesel Maxwell, but Kason Hendrickson goes and shuts the door, 46.505. And by the way, Kason Hendrickson is running solo. Oh, and there's one spin through. That is what I was worried about with that curb hop there and along, and that was Zen Veach spinning on the mix there. That is what I was worried about, as Kason Hendrickson will come through, and we'll get Zen Veach rolled backwards there in the top car, and that 211 making a big slide around. But that goes to show how hard they are pushing through that corner. Tyler, somehow that was just a nice little loop-de-loop.
Yeah, we hope that there's no damage or anything caused to that kart, but I've been there before where you're pushing just a little bit too hard, get the wheels a hopping, and there's a little bit of an elevation change there, so got the weight transfer and just took them around and put them into the wall.
And even in minis, you have to think about weight transfer, which is such a weird thing to say, but micro minis, when you look at the potential of weight transfer and you look at just the way these drivers run, it makes for such a big moment here. But thankfully, again, something like that, nothing too crazy, and we are able to just continue on. You get that cart pushed backwards, and you are able to get rolling yet again. So now, let's take a look here, because times are still coming through. Diesel Maxwell is ahead of Kason Hendrickson right now, but we have 1:50 left to go. And I will tell you right now, it is a cloudy day here in Whiteland, Indiana, just south of Indianapolis. I've been looking at the radar here. There are some pop-up showers around. Tyler, it's cloudy. The weather's not too bad here in Whiteland. It's mid-70s, cloudy, a little bit, I don't want to call it meh, but just honestly, I don't have a better word for it. A little bit meh, all things considered. Do we have a chance of rain today? I don't want to say we do, but looking at the radar, I can't rule it out.
Well, as a racer, I think rain is one of the most cursed words that you could say. Even though it's starting to look like it could possibly have a chance of rain, the two things I noticed was Zen Veach and Kason Hendrickson going even faster. Kason with a 45.953 and Zen with a 45.957. So only 4,000 separating the two. They're going faster, but it just seems like it's getting even more and more cloudy as the night progresses.
Absolutely. And of course, remember, this is night racing. We're going all the way to 11 p.m. here, local time, to get through the night. So you can't just think now. You got to think through the night and where this is going to go. Now, taking a look at things, I mean, at least AccuWeather. And take AccuWeather for what it is. It's what I'm looking at. It's what I use a bit. I rely on it, and I rely on some radars. Is saying that it's going to stay about this temperature. We're only going to get down to about 70 degrees at 11 p.m. And really not a lot of wind, which is good to see. And we're not really seeing any, I mean, it's humid, but we're not seeing anything too crazy come along weather-wise here in Whiteland, according to this. But then it also puts the caveat of pop-up showers at the same time, as Zen Veach steals it here at the checkered flag, 45.809. Kason Hendrickson comes across the line and will hold second. Coming through, man, the slides that these kids are doing are very impressive. And also, I'm going to call a lie right now saying there's no wind, because look at that flag right there going through. That tells me there is some wind. And, well, come across to the overalls. What do we get time-wise? Zen Beach, 45.569, top of the timing table. Case Hendrickson in second. Diesel Maxwell will come through in third. And Miles Hale in fourth. That is your mini Swift qualifying. They're 5 minutes done and dusted. We're going to take a quick moment, because up next, 206 seniors will roll. And when 206 senior gets on track, well, buckle in, because these drivers tend to make a show. All right, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Rolling out now, it's 206 senior, and you want to talk about a class that's going to put on a show. This is going to be the one to start things off. We're looking at a strong entry list here on the weekend of a lot of your favorites that you know and you love. Braden Heber's here. Reed Esslinger is here. Mason Ward is here. Adam Maxwell, of course, of AMAX Racing is here. Colton Kelly's here, who's been challenging time and time again. Last time out, it was AJ Lund who was on top. You know who wasn't on the entry list for this weekend? AJ Lund. So Adam Maxwell looking with a strong potential here to jump up in the points. You've got a lot of our drivers here who know this track, who know each other. And Tyler, this 206 package, it relies on momentum, as you know. And when you've got a big group of drivers that all know how each other race and don't tend to play nice with each other at times when they feel like they're the faster kart, you end up with some fireworks at the end of the go. It was their 5 minutes of qualifying is underway.
Yeah, I think this is one of the classes that I run, so this one is always get the popcorn out, and it's going to be a good race night for the 206 senior classes. We have a big field. We have big name drivers. It's shaping up to be a pretty competitive and dicey night.
18 drivers have crossed the line to start laps here in Whiteland, Indiana. This will be our biggest class of the day, and we're getting them rolling here very, very quickly. Zachary Allen up to the front with Colton Kelly, Levi Wilbur, Mason Ward, Dakota Pesic, and of course Braden Heber there. The fourth car in the trail there, that highlighter yellow and blue, and I always debate, is that yellow or green? And I've been told highlighter yellow is the confirmation of the colors. So watch that highlighter yellow going through as we have a lot of shuffles up for pace. Let's go for a pass down into turn one. Why don't we in the middle of qualifying? Tyler, did we remind these drivers it's only qualifying?
You know, that's one of the things that I always take to heart, that in 206 qualifying, you want to you want to work together a little bit, but I know a lot of the drivers out there want to get that track position, want to work together to get with some of the faster drivers in the front, and it's it shapes up to be a very aggressive driving experience and style that some just aren't cut out for, but it makes good viewing for us.
How much will that dirt be cut down at the corner of turn 12 by the time the weekend's done? And I don't think that's officially turn 12, but I'm unofficially labeling that turn 12 because officially I call the left-hander after Daytona turn 11. So we're going to call that like turn 12. I think technically on this track layout it's like turn 6. But you don't change corner names of corners that you know. That is a rule here in the booth, and that's a rule that I'm sticking to. Braden Heber now second in line here. Unfortunately, only fourth on time. Adam Maxwell currently top of the timing charts, running mid-pack, though, for Adam Maxwell, of course, the lead driver of AMAX Racing, the local Whiteland, Indiana karting group that has a strong presence here in Whiteland and tends to really, really show up and challenge along and try to show why they call Whiteland their home, because they tend to know this track really, really well. As we come through across the line, let's see a little bit of a shuffle up here in the front. That is the 8, and that is Josh Piccione, who is swapping through with Braden Heber up in the front. Braden Heber now in the front, which I wouldn't think is the position you want to be in, but here we are.
Yeah, especially with the long back straight that we do have here for the slight little bus stop into Daytona. Sometimes you might have one of the faster drivers just take the charge and go for the front. Even in one of these qualifying sessions, just get the other drivers out of the way and they have that track position and the clear running room.
Coming along, shuffles in the mid of this front running pack as they come across the line. 1:30 left to go, and we shuffle things up again. I see one kart going very slow there through turn 2, and that is not going to be an ideal place to go. Jared Howerton, where did you come from? Jumping from bottom of the leaderboard to second of the leaderboard here with a 47.578 that time through, less than a tenth off of Adam Maxwell's time. Braden Heber is third in time now. So this 206 senior class, I mean, they're not separated by a lot. It's less than 2 seconds separating 18 karts. Anything's possible here as we get to the end. These tires are still coming in. We're still seeing drivers set their best laps.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the session to watch for those fastest lap times of the night. As it gets colder, as it gets darker out, some of that grip is going to go away, and especially if there's a chance of rain, we might see some of those rubbered up patches getting more slippery. So this is the session to watch if you're looking for those fast lap times.
Coming through, 30 seconds left to go. This could be our final laps underway. It looks like it is going to be right to the line, side by side, heading down into the bus stop. All right, some shuffling up still going on here in the front as we work our way through. This class is going to be so competitive into the pre-finals and the finals. Of course, when the lights go out, the temperatures crank up and the competitiveness gets so much heavier here in 206. Coming to the line here, 3, 2. Do we get a bonus lap? We get bonus laps for our front pack. Not what I thought. Levi Wilbur, Colton Kelly, Zachary Allen, Dakota Pesic, Raider Santos, Nico Mason Ward. They all cross the line, but Adam Maxwell, Braden Heber, they will get to put in bonus laps, along with Reed Esslinger, who currently is sitting 16th in times. That bonus lap is going to be huge for Reed.
And we do see Adam Maxwell go even faster this time with a 47.317, and Jared Howerton and Braden Heber go even faster for their personal best with only a tenth and a half separating that top 3 right there. I think those are going to be the 3 drivers to watch through the course of the race day. Adam Maxwell, Braden Heber there in the front of this pack seem pretty racy, so I think they're going to be the ones to watch.
Coming across the line now for the rest of the pack, Adam Maxwell still holding top of the times here, 47.317. Your full 18 kart run here of 206 Senior separated by 1.8 seconds. And it's Maxwell, Jared Howerton, Braden Heber, Levi Wilbur, your top 4. Colton Kelly, Zachary Allen, Dakota Pesic, Raider Santos, Nico Santos, and Mason Ward round out your top 10. Stockton Phillips, Connor Dunk, Brady Sappenfield, Joshua Picone, Reed Esslinger, Braden Mayfield, Andrew Goldman, and Mike Haymaker will be your last kart to line things up. Sometimes being last isn't a bad thing, though, in 206. Watch the carnage happen in front of you and just pick up some positions there on the go. Next up is Kid Karts. We will let these drivers have their run here. Here in the booth, we're going to take a quick step aside. When we come back, it's 206 Junior set to go on track at 5:39 p.m. local time. So right now, we are going to let our Kid Karts get their 5 minutes of qualifying in, and we will be right back here with you. All right, and kid karts are done. Kit Dixon, top of the times with a 58.201, with then Millie Clements, Amelia Demon, Celine McKinster, James Mitchell, Michael Haymaker, and James Hale, your 7 kid karts that ran their 5-minute qualifying. A great run from all of them there to get out and going, and, well, it's going to be fun to watch them run their heats and their finals later. We're shifting gears now to 206 Junior, who are out and going. Our second largest class here of the weekend. 206 Junior, of course, the step down from 206 Senior, and these drivers tend to get real fast. Leading the run here is Jiju Sivakumar with Maximus Seward, Simon Eugen, Nolan Wade, Tyler Nash Turner, Eli Marsh, Campbell Feldhake, Aiden McKinster, Andrew Avalos, Parker Dunn, and Maxon Cleve. 11 karts to take on 206 Junior. And if you think 206 Senior is gloves out, 206 Junior is the best of both worlds of cadets and seniors combined. They have the racecraft of seniors at times, but they have the I don't cares of the cadets, where they will send it and go for moves. And, well, Tyler, you put that together, 206 Junior, we tend to see some big shows here.
Yeah, 206 Junior is is the class that I started out in originally, and to say that it can be a spectacle is one way to put it, with some of the most up-and-coming drivers gaining their skills in 206 Junior and getting their legs in 206 Junior. It's also, so you have to put the age into perspective too. Some of these drivers are 12 to 15, so some of the decisions are on the fly and emotions run really high, and it creates for some pretty good racing all around.
Absolutely. Points as they stand right now. Parker Dunn, who has won the last 2 rounds, currently leads the points over Tyler Nash Turner, who took a scratch last weekend, finishing 6th in the run, and then wasn't here for round 4, won round 3 though, and finished 3rd of rounds 1 and 2. Jiju Sivakumar won the heat the last time out, but ended up finishing 3rd after a wild run near the end. And then Nolan Wade is currently 4th, who has been running consistent there with a couple of 3rd places, a couple of podiums, but a couple of 4th places as well. So you've got a good variety of mix-up for these drivers as they run their way along. And that is what in 206 Junior I think is making the championship so competitive. Nobody has really been the clean sweep of the weekend any time in 206 Junior. We've had a variety of winners, we've had a variety of battles, and it's really helped produce just great action in this category. And then, of course, we factor in the age, we factor in the runs, and we factor in a big off track and able to get back on track, but that is going to kill momentum. You look over the shoulder now, get back in, and, well, I'm not saying I told you so. I'm not saying we told you so, Tyler. I'm just saying sometimes we know what we talk about in the booth.
Yeah, it seemed like the 2 drivers in front kind of stacked up a little bit. Maybe the driver ahead let off a little and they hit bumpers, and he didn't catch it in time and didn't have the reaction to get out of the way, and drove it right off the track.
Able to get back going though and continue okay without any issues, and that is going to be the big key here. Right now, Andrew Avalos, top of the timing tables with half of the session down, half to go, 48.229, with Jiju Sivakumar 48.681. So we've got a 3/10 gap that's formed here, but we should see that compress a bit. Eli Marsh has jumped up from 10th to 5th over the last lap, able to find time. So we're still watching these times run through, and it takes time to get these karts. And the best run is, no, that is a big off there in the front, and that was Jiju Sivakumar off with a big error there going into the double left-hander, runs it wide through the dirt, able to avoid the barriers, thankfully, but now very slow to get going. And I think that is going to be the end, not the end of Sivakumar's time on track, but the fact that that lap is going to be such a scratch, and then you have to try to build momentum back up into another lap. Now you've lost draft, and unfortunately, I think for Jiju Sivakumar, if this final lap has any time in it, I'll be impressed.
Yeah, and because this is the 206 class, momentum is super vital for these drivers, and having a little off like that can really ruin a qualifying, a race session for the rest of the session because your tires are dirty. They maybe had a second to cool off and you're out of the draft, you're frustrated, and that could be a huge damper on the rest of that session. I think we saw some contact there from the two of them on the front straight there, trying to make a pass up the inside and had a little bit of contact.
Again, drivers, this is just qualifying. Let's breathe here. But qualifying almost done, 20 seconds left to go on the timer. This should be the final lap for all of our drivers coming through into Daytona. Some drafting along, and well, nobody going for any crazy passes. I'd say if this was the final lap of a race, we would have seen a send to the inside there, little dip of the wheel into the dirt, and trying to work through that corner. I'm predicting this tonight, that corner is going to be the talk of the town. Checkered flag is out, and as you come to the overalls, where did the times lock in? Well, everyone locks in pretty well where they were. Eli Marsh, though, with a big jump up to the top to get into second. Never mind, scratch that. Parker Dunn across the line with a massive gain to get into second place. Andrew Avalos holding the front of the line, but Parker Dunn able to find some strong time there into second. Eli Marsh third. Tyler Nash Turner in fourth. Chiju Sivakumar fifth. And then from there, it's Nolan Wade, Maxon Cleve, Simon Mugen, Maximus Seward, Campbell Feldhage, and Aiden McKinster, your 11-206 juniors, getting their times through. What a run there, though, for Andrew Avalos, half a second up on the rest of the field. And rolling on track now, we have our 206 Master, Super Master combined. And this is a class where you tend to see the experience show itself, the racecraft show itself. And I tell you what, we got a strong entry list here for this class here this weekend. I'm very, very excited to see how this goes. And of course, you've got all of the names that you know and love here in Whiteland. J. Brian Williams is out there, Troy Toney, William McLaughlin, Danny Cutshaw again. And unfortunately, we already have one card around before we can even get going, and that appears to be Brian McKinster, who took a bit of a spin there. Unfortunate to see 14 carts rolling out in this Master Supermaster qualifying. I tell you what, it's nice to see a large Master Supermaster field. It's not one of those that we normally, I feel like, get a huge field at, and this might be, this is actually our second largest entry of the weekend. A lot of drivers getting in here and entering and going, and Well, again, it's 206s, so you need a friend, but it's Masters and Super Masters. They want to prove themselves, and you end up with almost a reverse of a 206 junior situation. They've got so much knowledge and just enough racecraft, and they tend to be dangerous, but they tend to be quick and fair.
And you want to watch too for the Masters and Super Masters as they run heavier than junior and senior, usually 390 to 395, depending on the series. That's a lot of weight to throw around a layout like this where you have some tight corners and some fast switchbacks. So keep that as a factor for how they take these corners, like coming through here. Watch them dip a wheel off. There's a lot of weight rolling around.
This is our heaviest class, and I'll have to double check the exact weight because it has absolutely slipped my mind right now. It's just been one of those days that it's slipped my mind on the exact weight that the seniors run here. So it is, drum roll, 375 pounds is what our Masters and Super Masters run, and you are muscling that around this track, and they're doing it in 48 seconds for Dakota Pesic at the front of the field. That is an impressive time to find here on the run. But this layout especially, the more I've watched it here, Tyler, this layout is really allowing these 206 drivers, I feel like, to get the most of that momentum that they need. This third sector is proving to be a little bit challenging, all things considered. It's the tightest and most technical section, but it seems like a majority of the track really builds to allowing these drivers to carry momentum.
Yeah, and we see our one little spot there coming out of Daytona that is the tightest part of the track. There is elevation change to take into account. You're kind of coming over a crest and back down, and the kart gets light when you come over, and it's kind of a blind crest, so the kart drifts out and you might hit the grass a little bit, and then you got to bring it back to the left and then back to the right for another quick right-hander. So it's really showing the driver level. It takes a lot of skill to make this flow correctly with this engine and kart platform.
That it does. Just taking a look here too at some of the classes that have already ran, trying to see if there's any penalties that have been assessed for any of our earlier categories here. Looks like I don't see anything so far, but of course when we get to those appropriate runs, we will talk about them and see who finds what run. We do still have a few classes left here on the day. Of course, Master Super Masters, 206 Cadet, then KA Junior, and then we are taking a very short break of about 20 minutes, and then we roll right into the heats. Of course, the same order as they've already ran. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you are a Kart Chaser Premium member for $9.99 a month. Sign up on PC or Android. If you sign up on iPhone, it's $12.99 a month, and you have to pay that pesky Apple tax, which benefits nobody, and you end up just paying extra money to get a thing that you could be getting for less. So sign up on a PC, $9.99 a month, catch all of the action live as it happens, and of course, if you don't get enough racing here today, well, tomorrow SCUSA will be live, of course, tomorrow for their runs, and SCUSA running out of Newcastle this weekend. So if you are interested in seeing how SCUSA ends up tomorrow, again, become a Kart Chaser Premium member, $9.99 a month. And if you're watching and you want to see how the heats and the finals happen live here, Kart Chaser Premium member, $9.99 a month. 55 seconds left to go right now. Dakota Pesic and Troy Toney, your top two, with J. Brian Williams in third. That's an unusual position for J. Brian Williams to be in third. I'm very used to seeing J. Brian Williams and Troy Toney up near the front. And Troy Toney across the line with a 48.377. But I think the big thing to note, the top seven separated by less than a second.
Yeah, this Master and Super Masters class that we see is one of the more competitive. I think it's very similar to 206 Senior with the competition that we see, because as you said, Brad, there's a lot of experience with some of these drivers, so they are eking out the most performance from their karts that they can, and often getting within a couple thousandths and a couple hundredths within each other. So watch for that top 10. It could be down to less than a second by the end of this qualifying session.
it's going to continue to close, and checkered flag is out. Troy Toney, top of the times. Dakota Pesic, J. Brian Williams, Tyler DeMann, your top 4 will lock themselves in. Blah, 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 blah. And as you approach the overalls, you need to be on the best time. William McLaughlin will be locked in 7th place here. Coming across through for Joseph Stevens does not improve, but that's only half our field. Brian McKinster will find 1 place to go from 14th to 13th, and continuing to push across times here as your top 5 lock in as Troy Toney, Dakota Pesic, J. Brian Williams, Tyler DeMann, and Tonka Jahari, your top 5. Joseph Stevens will be 6th, William McLaughlin at 7th. Danny Cutshaw, Steve Prackle, Mike Balkert, Jesse Bullock, Todd Albertson, Brian McKinster, and Wesley Bullock, your 14 carts here on the go for Masters and Super Masters. Now, 2 more classes left to go for qualifying. Next up, it'll be 206 cadets, slated to roll in about 2 minutes. And rolling out on track now is going to be 206 cadets. We go from our oldest drivers, our wisest drivers in age, to our youngest drivers here, 206 cadets. Get their way rolling. The cadets here, ages 7 to 12 with a 255-pound cart. And this is a class that, I tell you what, it goes one of 2 ways. It's either the absolute wildest racing you've ever seen, or somebody in 206 cadets just has some pace and runs away and says, everyone try to catch me. But typically it's the former, not the latter, where you see things and you get the variance of experience and ages, and well, they tend to forget that it's qualifying and they're already racing heading through, Tyler.
Yeah, we're already starting to see some racy wheel-to-wheel action as we almost went 3 wide there before we got onto the back straight. It's one of these classes that this is one of the more chaotic classes, I'll say, to be respectful to the drivers, because they're still learning. They're young drivers, 7 to 12. This is one of the building blocks of our sport, so it's always fun and enjoyable to give these guys and girls some support for when they're racing as they go on in their journey of motorsports.
This is going to be, again, there's so many names in here that you can keep an eye on and really watch and see where they find their way through, because it is just such a fun run to see here in 206 cadets, how they head along. Jackson Mealy currently ahead of Miles Hale on the timing tower in your championship in 206 cadet. James Fox leads. James Fox has won round 1, 3, and 5 here. In round 2 and 4 was 5th and 3rd. Those are the drop weeks for James Fox here in this 12-round championship. So when you take a look at that and you calculate things through, that puts Jackson McNeely in second place. Who do we not have here this weekend? James Fox is not here this weekend. So that leaves a big opening for Jackson McNeely and Miles Hale to try to find some time. Diesel Maxwell, of course, with AMAX Racing running in second right now on the times, half a second off of Jackson McNeely, but Diesel Maxwell can definitely find that pace real quick.
This is also one of those classes too that we see a little bit more spread in the lap times, but I think by the end of the night, the pack usually can run pretty close together. So hopefully we're looking at a clean night of racing for this 206 cadet class. But we also see Jackson McNeely goes even faster with a 48.673. Miles Hale goes with a 49.392.
Time's going to continue to improve as we head through into the run here. These karts, they're getting their tires up to temperature. The drivers are getting familiar with the track layout. They're finding where they can run through and head along here. Of course, before qualifying, it was 5-minute warm-ups that were ran earlier to make sure the kart was running right, make sure things were dialed in, get yourself familiar. But 5 minutes isn't a lot of time to really find the track layout and find the best lines, and especially in 206 Cadet, those warm-up times, you tend to get much quicker in qualifying, I find.
And we see Jackson McNeely goes once again even faster, 48.506. And as these drivers start to learn, they're finding the spots where they can put the kart that maybe is not generally the racing line, but is giving them more grip, more momentum through the corner. And this is the time to find those opportunities to give you just a little bit more pace, eke out just a little bit more time than the other drivers around you.
Which is very much easier said than done. I will say that. And these young drivers, they tend to really be able to figure it out, though. So just buckle in, see how these 206 cadets do. 90 seconds left to go on the run. Jackson McNeely still finding time. 48.216 across the line here. 49.3 for Miles Hale is the best time there. Diesel Maxwell 49.4. Kyler Hendrickson, Luke Sutherland, and Blake McKinster, your other karts running through now. This is going to be one of those to watch along here on the go. Kyler Hendrickson is a very, very fast driver as well, is third in the championship right now and has been consistent, I would say, here. Finished third in round 2, finished second in round 3, didn't run round 5, and had a 5th place in round number 4. Round 4 was a little bit crazy, though, so I will say that not a representative run there, I would say, for Kyler Hendrickson. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There is no Bo Laser here today, who is running 5th in the championship. James Fox is at SCUSA over in Newcastle. Again, that is your points leader, and that opens the door up quite a bit here to see things shuffle up. And right now, Jackson McNeely saying, I'm going to take advantage of the time that I'm given and try to run forward to the top.
You know, Brad, I think we're going to have to put some extra weight on Jackson McNeely's kart. As we see, he has a 1.1 second gap with his fastest time to second place Diesel Maxwell. He is absolutely driving the wheels off of that kart in this qualifying session as it comes to a close. And he goes even faster with a 48.194.
I'm pretty sure that is an option if we wanted to. Can we, like, commentator request that? I don't know that track officials would be a fan of that, but I don't know why we can't request that at least and see for Jackson McNeely how that plays out. Jackson McNeely, top of the times, 48.194 to a 49.1 for Miles Hale across the line. 49.2 for Diesel Maxwell in third, and then it's Kyler Hendrickson, Luke Sutherland, and Blake McKinster will be your last kart to see the checkered overalls here on your Indy Karting Challenge nighttime run here, as we have one class left to go. KA Juniors will be out in just a moment. And last class out on track right now, and it is going to be the KA Juniors running along. So KA Juniors now out on track and going, and this is going to be the setup. Jiju Sivakumar, Nolan Wade, Bentley McCann, Andrew Avalos, and Jordan Lepine will be your karts out on track running. So as they get going here, KAs, the two strokes, a little bit more power than the 206s. They're all about momentum. Buckle up and see how this builds up, because I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a fun one to see. First time's through, Nolan Wade is ahead of Jiju Sivakumar. And, you know, Tyler, I want to ask your opinion on this as a driver. When you're jumping from KA to 206, what is that mindset shift like between the two karts? Is there a big mindset shift? Of course, it's a different package, so there has to be some change. But truly, how much of a difference does it feel?
Well, I've never actually driven a KA before, so I can only give my best impression, but it seems that with the 206, obviously it's all down to momentum, being smooth, not trying to scrub as much speed as possible. But with this KA platform, you have that more power, but you also have a higher rev range. These are running usually up to, I believe, 15,000 RPM. So you do have to be more concerned about where your revs are, because if you get too low, you're out of the power band. But these karts, they do seem to be more agile as they drive. They have a little bit higher top speed, and the way they take these corners, they bounce around, they're agile. It throws you around in the seat a little bit more. It seems like there is a big difference in driving style compared to those two classes, where maybe you're not focused so much on having the smooth hands and more on cart placement, and not as much momentum, even though that is a big factor with these karts, but more on just kind of dancing it around and getting that ultimate pace out.
It's always interesting to me to see drivers jump between the KA two-stroke and the four-stroke packages of the 206 through a weekend here. And it's always more interesting to see drivers jump across from the two strokes to the shifters. Of course, Bentley McCann recently went to the Sierra Showdown and absolutely swept the field in shifters. So Bentley McCann running in fourth, I would say, is not representative of Bentley's skill, and I would expect that number 11 to find a bit more time here as the weekend goes and definitely be competitive. I always like to say this, and I can't believe that we're all the way to the end of qualifying. We've been here over an hour on the air. This is the first time I'm saying this, that qualifying is qualifying, but the race is where the points are won. Qualifying is not representative of your overall racecraft. So you can have a driver who can get a strong qualifying, who unfortunately just gets lost in the battle of the race start and isn't able to capitalize. And on the inverse of that, you can have a driver who is not the best in qualifying. Maybe he doesn't run the best hot lap pace, but can get up to the front, lead, and defend the whole time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, especially in KA Junior right now, as Jiju Sivakumar is third on times. Jordan Lepine will move up to second. Andrew Avalos, top of the timing table with a 43.225. Every time I see them jump through right there at what I'm calling turn 11, but that double left-hander out of Daytona, and I see them ramp through, the KA Juniors, we're not seeing do it as much as the 206 packages, but you really have to watch and see how they're hitting that run. I'm shocked we've only had one driver that we've seen go off there and do sort of a light spin along, but I would not be surprised again if through the race that doesn't become a contention point of the evening here. 50 seconds left to go in qualifying here, Tyler. And again, once we do this, we take a short break and we go straight into the heats. $9.99 a month. Become a Kart Chaser Premium member. Catch all the action live as it happens. And then, of course, tomorrow you can watch some SCUSA and have some fun along here. But got to ask Tyler, with 37 seconds left to go, K.A. Jr., what's your takeaways here?
Well, as we see, it seems like Jiju Sivakumar is kind of pulling away from the other drivers. Obviously, they're not on top in times right now. But as you said, it's not representative. They just seem to be a little bit more refined right now with the setup. Maybe the setup is working really, really well for them. But we see Jordan Lapine with the 43.079. It's going to be very close between these drivers. They're all within 7/10 of each other. The top three is less than 2/10, so it's going to be very close. All these drivers seem to have a pretty calm head on them right now, so we'll see if that changes for some of the races.
Checkered flag out, checkered overalls are on the line, and as they cross the line, it is Jordan Lapine over Andrew Avalos by 0.3 of a second. Jiju Sivakumar in third, Bentley McCann in fourth, and Nolan Wade in fifth. That is qualifying done here. Tyler, before we go behind the paywall, any final thoughts?
Other than just have fun watching it. I think this is going to be a really good night for racing. As the sun sets, I think watch some of these drivers in the back maybe move up a little bit as the temperatures fall.
Buckle it up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a step aside when we come back. We'll be back behind the paywall here on Kart Chaser for your nighttime racing here in the Indy Karting Challenge. It's grassroots coverage. It's myself, Brad. It's Tyler. We got Ian behind us here, pushing the buttons, making the things happen, and, of course, our camera crew here as well. Don't go anywhere, except for behind the paywall. We'll be back.
You know, I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Motorsport.
Cut. You
What?
all right, man? You sound way off.
What?
I don't know, you sound like you're asleep still. Is the age finally getting to you? You're only how old, 42?
Dude, I'm 27. I'm not even 3 years older than you.
Well, that's pretty old. Well, that's 3 years away from Masters, dude. You need a little pick-me-up. Try a Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Do you walk around with these in your pockets?
I actually do. Always two, one for me and clearly one for you.
Whatever. Not that old, dude.
Did it help, though?
Yeah.
Pericazo. And you are that old.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with two classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
Garage to the Grid, Acceleration Kart Racing is your one-stop shop for karting. Engines, parts, safety gear, tools, and more from the brands you trust. Everything you need for race day starts at shopakr.com.
Welcome Code Chaser 20 to get Code Chaser 20 to get 20% off today.
Paulie Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakRacing.com.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Gee, looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tag?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make way. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle.
Macro Motorsports builds champions every day. Drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart. It's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macromotorsports.net.
Are you ready to get